What happened in the 60s to break free from a lot of patterns and break out of the norms? And people of my generation have gone in a lot of different ways to try to express a higher truth or a higher consciousness, to do that awakening, to understand that we're really spiritual beings in a human body. And when you have that experience, you want to maximize your efforts while you're here to experience joy, to experience love, to experience peace, but also to serve and a higher purpose to make a difference in the world. And so, yes, when I joined the ashram, it was called Divine Light Mission. Okay. The
Wow.
meditation I taught was all about experiencing the light within you, that there is a real light within you that can be opened up through meditation, where you can go into uh, a deep experience of the light. When you have the opportunity to have a direct experience, it opens up all sorts of possibilities that you wouldn't necessarily consider, because otherwise you just take the programming that we get in our first years of life and we just end up going down that path and trying to pursue all these worldly things that have some satisfaction, but they're temporary and they're not the deeper satisfaction that happens when you connect to that light within you.
What does it look like to be connected to that light within you? Welcome to your Wordless Podcast, the space where we redefine success, self-worth, and transformation. I am Nick Nieras, the soul-centered architect of transformation, helping you unlock your highest potential and build a legacy beyond limits. Now, whether it is self-mastery, career breakthroughs, or wealth creation, this is where change begins. Now let's dive in.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
So, Ellen, I'd like to take my listeners and my guests a trip down memory lane. First off, can you share with us what was it like growing up as Alan Imberato?
Well, that's a big question to start off with. Well, I grew up in Los Angeles. I was born in Philadelphia, but I came to Los Angeles when I was 1.5. So I don't know exactly how much detail you want me to get into, but
Whatever
I,
that comes to mind right now.
well, I've been involved in a lot of different endeavors, in a lot of different worlds. I was involved in civil rights in the 60s when there was a lot of riots happening in LA, and I created a conference to try to bring all the different races together when I was still in high school.
Oh, okay.
Then I went to UCLA and I got very involved in protests against the war in Vietnam. I worked with Jane Fonda and Tom Hayden. We organized lots of demonstrations to protest that war. And then I lived in Berkeley for a while when that was all happening in the heyday of birth of the counterculture, you might say. I don't know. It's probably before your time. But as I say, I could get into each one of these things. Is that enough, or do you want me to keep going?
Well, I am just gonna tie it back to mindfulness, right? So obviously you're a seasoned, very experienced person, and in all your endeavors that you just mentioned. So, what is the common theme across these endeavors that you've taken so far? And what brought you to mindfulness in the first place? I guess that's those are two separate questions.
Well, the common theme is consciousness transformation, making a difference in the world, having a purpose for having something uh, better happen in the world besides what is going on. So I've done it, and now I've done it in business. I've had my own business now for 34 years, and we do digital transformation through software and AI. And I have like a business clients all over the world, and I have a whole software team in India and other places in the world that we're very involved in transforming software, using software and AI to transform a whole business to work more efficiently. But my spiritual work began early on, and I joined an ashram, as you said, in my early 20s. And I would meditate several hours a day, and I was very involved in understanding the higher realms, you might say, or understanding that there's more to life that we need to discover that's inside of us. There's a whole world of opportunity to experience, have deep experiences of energy and spirituality and all the good stuff, you might say, that lies within us. But we're so busy trying to find it outside of us that we miss the real treasures that are within us. And that's been my passion. I've been meditating now for, as you said, for 5 decades. Every morning, I start off with an hour or so of meditation. And then I take that energy and that experience into my work each day.
Right now, 5 years into journeying within. And so, whenever a guest comes onto my show and they talk about mindfulness, they're an expert. Obviously, they're walking the talk. Love to pick their brains on what is it, because time and time again, we hear it's like the, I don't, of course, you do know. Like, I've seen a lot of this light workers on YouTube saying the world is shifting. There are two paths being taken. It's either you're into the light, the conscious one, or you continue to be on the path where you know you choose to not be awakened, let's to put it simply. So what is your take on that, Alan? Like, I know you've got a lot to say. I mean, we're going to talk about your AI app for sure, your app, but
Okay.
I am just yeah,
Well,
compelled to ask.
well, a lot happened in the 60s to break free from a lot of patterns and break out of the norms. And people of my generation have gone in a lot of different ways to try to express a higher truth or a higher consciousness, to do that awakening, to understand that we're really spiritual beings in a human body. And when you have that experience, you want to maximize your efforts while you're here to experience joy, to experience love, to experience peace, but also to serve and a higher purpose to make a difference in the world. And so, yes, when I joined the ashram, it was called Divine Light Mission. Okay. The
Wow.
meditation I taught was all about experiencing the light within you, that there is a real light within you that can be opened up through meditation, where you can go into uh, a deep experience of the light. When you have the opportunity to have a direct experience, it opens up all sorts of possibilities that you wouldn't necessarily consider, because otherwise you just take the programming that we get in our first years of life and we just end up going down that path and trying to pursue all these worldly things that have some satisfaction, but they're temporary and they're not the deeper satisfaction that happens when you connect to that light within you.
What does it look like to be connected to that light within you? Are you stuck in a job that you don't love, feeling like you're meant for more? It is not in your head, it is in your soul. I am Nick Yaras, and I help high achievers like you break free from burnout, rewire self doubt, and build a life aligned with purpose through coaching, hypnotherapy, and soul activation. Because let's face it, real wealth isn't just about money, it is about aligning happy heart, mind, and soul. Now, remember, you are worthy and you are enough. Let's transform your life together. Visit www.thenickyarasholisticlifestyle.com to begin.
White.
Okay, it's white. Is it also light? Yeah, I guess it's light.
I mean, it's amazing it's like the inner sun. I mean, it's a very powerful energy, but it feels like home. It's like it feels like you're at home and it's where you really feel safe. It's like a really safe place where there's no judgment, there's no fear, there's no lack. It's a place of abundance. And when you experience that abundance, you realize that we're here, there's no poverty really. It's just when you can tap into, go from scarcity into abundance, then you see that there's so many possibilities and there's a deep richness in everything that you do outside now, because you have the strong foundation of connection to that source.
Thank you. And you mentioned you meditate an hour every day, or you start with an hour and you increase it, or just an hour? And what do you do? How do you meditate?
Sometimes it's 2 hours, on the, weekends, like, if I don't have things going on. Um, well, now I just meditate, I just go into meditation. But, it's like it takes a little while to get past your mind. Your mind is very busy and talking a lot or has a lot to say, or it's like a radio channel that never goes off. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need to learn how to separate yourself, that's not who we are. We aren't our thoughts. We think we are our thoughts because we're always thinking, and we think that voice in our head is who we are. But when you basically start with your breath, perhaps as an anchor to tap into, I mean, breath really means spirit. Okay. Breath comes from the origins of spirit. And when you begin to get into a nice rhythm of your breath and a natural rhythm, it leads you on a bridge into your higher self, into your spiritual self, into your place of pure awareness, where you're just in a place of witness. You're just really experiencing something that seems really natural. What most of the time, what we think is natural is not natural because we've just been doing it for a long time and we think that's normal. But when you really go inside and you meditate, you find what's really true, your true nature. Okay.
Is it that moment where you like get a revelation about something unintentionally? Is that what meditation is, or is it you catching? So I had a guest come on to my show, and he was saying when you try to meditate, and then there are like thoughts in your head, but the moment you catch yourself having that thoughts, that's the exact moment of you meditating. Would you explain that as
Well,
meditation?
I mean, the idea is to keep coming back to your breath. I mean,
Right, to keep coming back to your breath. Hmm.
just not to judge yourself. I mean, it's like we get caught in these trances. Okay. All of a sudden, you're just off on a story or thinking about
Yes.
what's going to happen later or what happened yesterday. And your mind just takes you off on a tangent.
Hmm.
So it is an insight. It's, self awareness to notice that, have some notion that, oh, yeah, I just got caught in the thought stream. But that's not where I want to be right now. And a lot of it is just letting go, is just not getting attached to any thought, not getting more interested in what's beyond the thought than the thought. But I get a lot of good ideas when I meditate.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
And I start thinking, okay, we're going to do this and on this project and this person. But when I get more interested that there's a whole other world that I could be going into right now, that this is the purpose of that meditation, whether it's 1 minute or 10 minutes or an hour, that's my intention. So if you have an intention to just be, no, no, stop doing. I mean, we're doing machines. We're not human doings. We're human beings. So when we discover our beingness of just being, and it's really learning how to do nothing. It's like we're always doing things, but doing nothing opens up that gate to finding the beingness. Am I making any sense? I don't know.
Yes, perfect sense. In doing nothing, you'll find out about everything.
Yes.
Dolce far niente, as the Italians say it. Well, oh, thank you for that, Alan. I guess this flows nicely to my next question. So, talk to us about your app. How did it come about? And what was the pivotal moment that made you think that, okay, I need to get this app to as many people as I could?
Well, the app is called KiFlow. Ki means life energy, Ki, and then flow. So I did my first app, like you said, 2011, in the App Store called Stress Shifter. So most people don't like to feel stressed. And so they want to get rid of the feeling of stress in their body. So they'll try to eat something or drink something or take a drug or go running or try to, get rid of the sensations. But when that fight, flight, stress response system goes off in your body, it's uncomfortable. And we don't like comfortable. But really, when you see stress as a signal, subconscious, that something just got triggered, then you can see stress as an opportunity to strengthen yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That you encountered some fear that got triggered from your amygdala part of your brain that reminded you of some past hurt or such past pain. And your stress response system was warning you or sending off an alert. Originally, millions and millions of years ago, this stress response system, and you'll see it in most animals and everything, is just designed to protect us physically for physical harm. And so you get a spurt cortisol to go into a fight response to defend yourself, or you go into a flee response, or you go into a freeze. But those responses are supposed to be temporary. Just, it's like a temporary burst of the blood going into your muscles so that you can be a little stronger. But these days, most of our triggering happens because of social threats, not physical threats. Are triggered by social media, by emails, by meetings, by people judging us, by people
By
trying,
WhatsApps.
yes, WhatsApp, people trying to control us,
Yeah.
people giving us shots, trying to abuse us, oppress us, control us. All these different ways make us feel unsafe.
Hi, I'm Nick Nieras, your host of the Your Worthless podcast. Now, if these real raw stories hit home, don't wait. Please follow, like, and subscribe my Spotify and YouTube. For bite-sized inspirational reels, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Don't wait. Your transformation starts today. Thank you, and bye for now.
So, unfortunately, our stress response system never feels safe, so it doesn't go off. So it's constantly pumping that cortisol and that adrenaline that causes all sorts of chronic disease eventually. If your stress response system, chronic stress, doesn't calm down, then eventually you are constantly creating inflammation in your body, which leads to most chronic diseases are caused by stress. 90% of all doctors' visits, according to the CDC, are stress related. So, having done meditation, understanding how to shift stress, how to go into a place where you're not stressed, I wanted to create an app to help people be more resilient, to learn how the skill of bouncing back from when you do get stressed. It's not that you're not going to get stressed. The skill is how to be resilient and get back to your core center, into that calm place. So there's the sympathetic nervous system and there's the parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system is rest and digest, is like the calm one, whereas the sympathetic one is your stress response system. When most people are living constantly activating their sympathetic nervous system. So being on that, it's more of a nervous system issue than just a psychological issue. So that's why you have to deal with it on a higher level of meditation and mindfulness, because that's where you can get back to that calm place. So this app, originally, I designed it in such a way that it was identifying common stress patterns, and it takes people through a four-step process of facing your stress, because most people don't want to face it. And then you focus and you start peeling away the layers to understand what are your body sensations, what are your feelings, what are your emotions, what are your thoughts, and then if you keep doing the inquiry through your awareness and your observer, you get to a place where you find out what your actual trigger was. You uncover of underlying fear where you actually felt rejected or you felt abused or you felt controlled, or there was some place in some way somebody gave you a dirty look or you had a bad tone of voice and you just didn't feel safe. So that triggered your amygdala to try to protect you, to try to defend you, because it's a natural response. So if you are into mastering yourself, into learning who you are, knowing who you are, then you want to get interested in your stress as a signal to help bring you back to become stronger. So once you make a shift, you're no longer necessarily going to believe that fear is real. I mean, the whole problem, fear is false expectations appearing real. We have some belief underneath that believes that we really are in danger. But if you face that fear and you go into that fear, you realize that's just an old belief that got programmed a long time ago. And that limiting core belief, whether it's you're not good enough or you're worthless or you're a bad person or people don't like you, all these sit there in the background and control us. So we are constantly trying to prove the opposite. If you feel like you're not worthy, you're trying to always do things and get people's approval. Do enough good deeds or do enough good things or be funny or get people's attention so that people will like you so that you can feel worthwhile. But the problem is we're not aware of our inherent worth just as a human being. There's nothing to prove. There's no big contest. You have a divine right just by being a human being that you can be in touch with that ultimate experience, that worthiness that is innate in every human being. So it's really a problem of disconnected. We're disconnected with that. So I've used AI in this app, KiFlow, to make it a very personal experience where it takes people on a journey to help them understand what resonates with them, to uncover what that hidden core belief is, what that hidden fear is. And then it takes them into what I call a growth mindset, to move from survival mindset into a growth mindset. And that growth mindset propels you into that abundance, into seeing much, much more possibilities than just trying to get through each day and survive through life.
What a wonderful way to wrap up all of my questions into one answer, Alan. I love it. I love the fact that it's very evident when somebody practices this in the way they speak, in their eloquence, and in the delivery of their speech, because I've been a podcast not that long, but about 2 years plus now, and I've spoken to more than 200 people, and so we can sort of pick out those that actually are very calm in in their message, and so I just and I pick up on that uh very very subtly, and I love the way you're doing that, and I know you're also a speaker, right? On a side note, I also am a coach, and I help people break through their own limiting beliefs through hypnotherapy. So say somebody is going to speak in front of at a TEDx event. What if you are their coach or you're the meditation teacher? What would you tell that person?
Focus on your purpose, that you're there to serve and you have a contribution to make, not on fears of, well, like what I say, or I'm afraid of people or people's fear of judgment. But inevitably that anxiety will be there. The brain will feel threatened, or the brain will feel it's not safe to be on that stage, but not to believe it's true. It's like your desire to serve, or your desire to whatever message you're speaking about, can override all those fears that really are just old programming. I mean, most of us got programmed in our first 8 years of our life, and we're still operating out of those beliefs. By getting out of your comfort zone, putting yourself on a stage and playing what I call full out. It's like one of the shifts that we talk about in our software, our app, is to go from playing it safe to playing full out. And most of us want to stay in that, what we think is safe, by putting on a persona or having a mask or pretending like, you're okay, but underneath you're feeling really anxious. So it's just to embrace that. It's like accept it. Okay, yes, fine. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling anxious. That's okay. But don't try to fight it. Don't try to make it go away. Just allow it to be there and focus on what it is that you are there for.
Thank you. I cannot help but to think I got this question. I don't know, somehow it got downloaded to me. So the app has been around for a while, right?
The stress shifter was out for a while, but KiFlow just got released a couple months ago, and now we have thousands and thousands of downloads. But
Wow.
KiFlow is relatively new. But I really wanted to take advantage of AI to make it more personalized experience. AI will present different options, and then you can just see which resonates with you. I mean, it's different than just talking to a regular chat GPT, because this takes you through a process and it helps and presents different questions that you otherwise wouldn't know to even ask chat GPT to get to the root of your understanding of what it is that's really going on when your stress was triggered. So you have, the whole thing about AI is you have to know how to ask the right prompts. So this app is designed to ask the prompts that are going to make a shift, that's going to take you through the journey if you want to go on that journey. I mean, it's all about growth. I mean, if you just want to grow, then you are willing to look at whatever is happening and not judge it, but just get interested in it and seeing as like, this is an old part of me, an old program. And do I want to really believe this again, that this is true? Begin to question, where did I, where did I start believing? How long did I believe this? And the app sort of like prompts you to think about that, to see, is this something that really is true about me or not? And when you can just puncture that, it opens up an opportunity for you to create a new belief about yourself.
Reframing your own life. How do you integrate your spiritual practices with your business?
Well, it's very important when you're dealing with software that there's lots of bugs. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So to not, clients call up and they have an issue with the software, and it's important that I just stay in that calm place and just listen and understand exactly what it is. Don't take it personally, or I feel like I have to defend my software, but just to really find out exactly how I can help them and how I can solve that problem. So it helps me keep focused on making a difference rather than blaming the client. Oh, they made some stupid mistake and that's why it's wrong, or they don't understand, or I have such a perfect software. There's nothing really wrong. Just, and I could, have all these ways of defending myself, but no, how can I serve and solve that problem? That's my focus.
I love that. So right now, KiFlow, the reviews that you've gotten, can you share with us? I'm sure they're raving reviews.
I could read a few if you'd like.
Yes, yes.
KiFlow transformed my understanding of stress from something to avoid to a powerful signal for growth. I now see stress not just as a challenge, but as an opportunity to build resilience, assess underlying issues, and prioritize well-being. Here's Ethan. He felt overwhelmed and empty. His job, his family, relatives made him feel criticized, unworthy, constantly pressured to be perfect. He was exhausted and defeated. Then KiFlow and KiFu. KiFu is our AI avatar, by the way. I forgot to mention KiFu.
It's such a cute name. Kifu. Okay, so Kifu is in KiFlow.
Yeah, he's the guide. He's the AI guide. I forgot to say introduce you to KiFu. Anyway, KiFu helped him uncover a deep belief holding him back, which was, I am not lovable, I am weak. This insight helped him see how much he relied on others' approval and how his fear of failure drained him. With this awareness, Ethan began to change. He embraced self-compassion, set healthy boundaries, and practiced open communication. He took care of himself with yoga and meditation and stood up for his needs. He replaced his old belief with a new one: I am lovable, strong, and worthy of respect. Now, even when life is stressful, Ethan meets it with strength and self-acceptance. He no longer seeks validation from others. He knows his worth comes from within.
Amazing. Okay. So right now, Ellen, where do people where can people go and download this fantastic, fantabulous app of yours?
It's in the app stores, Apple Store and Google Play. Just KiFlow. You can just find it very fast, very easily, and download it. And there's a 7-day free trial that you can just play with it and experience it before you're asked to uh, get a subscription. But it's a real opportunity to experience something deeper and take you on a little journey. And then it has lots of exercises to learn to do breath work, to learn to do visioning, to learn how to change your limiting beliefs into positive beliefs. There's a lot of exercises in other ways that it helps you. And it also talks about developing a practice of gratitude. So there's a lot of value in the app, but the main thing is it takes you on this 4-step process. I didn't actually complete the 4 steps. I just said the first 2: facing, focusing, freeing yourself from that old core belief, creating a new vision, possibility, having a clear intention, and then the last step is flowing. So facing, focusing, freeing, and flowing.
Flowing. You cannot miss any step and go straight to flow, right? Because when we're in that journey for a long time, we kind of know we kind of know when to go with the flow or when we need to apply our own discernment, whether is this what the flow is asking me to do, or am I being deluded about something else? I don't know if that is making sense to you, but
No,
because
that's it. That's a very important point of discernment that you're making.
because sometimes it can be disguised as going with the flow, and then somebody will just think that, okay, I have X amount of money and I'm just gonna go with the flow and just go party that money off, and that's me going with the flow. So the discernment, I guess it's that inner knowing, right? But what do you say to that? I mean, what's your take on
Oh,
that?
there's ego flow and there's soul flow. Okay.
I love that. There's ego flow
And
and there's soul flow. Ooh, that's powerful.
I'm talking about the flow that happens when you're in your soul, when you're in that light. Remember, we were talking about the light?
Yes.
When you're connected to that experience, something larger than yourself, you feel energized, you feel connected inside. Your heart is open, your mind is open, you're in a different state of energy, you might say. Whereas the ego, I mean, you're right. It can seem like, oh yeah, this is great, but it ends up usually in a dead end or in some kind of a limitation. So I don't know. It takes a lot of self awareness to have that discernment, like you're saying. So it's a good question to hold. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Oh, thank you, Ellen. It means a lot coming from you. Besides the app, what are you working on currently? Other exciting projects that you have in the pipeline?
Well, we just released this product called Key B AI, which is all about business intelligence that helps people take their data of what they're working on and get insights from their data. You can talk to your data and understand, reports and charts and insights on, different data sets that you have. So if you want to analyze your income statement or your inventory or your sales or your purchasing, that's what we do. We are involved in every aspect of a business. So that was another product that we just released a few weeks ago, and now we're marketing that. So marketing these 2 products, both of them are using AI, and we're also doing some AI automations, like with this plastic surgeon. He's been a client for me a long time. We're taking all his knowledge and we're making an avatar so that his patients can just question him.
Wow. Wow. It's like an AI plastic surgeon.
Yeah. Well, you have a
As in, like,
drawing of
not the
a face.
physical, not the
Yeah.
one doing the surgeon just yet, but him consulting the client,
You can
the
see it.
patients.
and then just touch different parts on your face and talk about different treatments that can be done to help, who know you could, change your upper eyelid or your lower eyelid, or you can change your jaw, you can change your nose. So anyway, we create this avatar, we call her Annie, and you can just talk to Annie and talk about all your questions anonymously. You don't have to feel embarrassed. You feel safe. You can just interact with Annie and find out everything you want to know about different treatments.
I
These
love that.
treatments are amazing what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Dabble, not dabble, but this is what I, do. Okay.
Congratulations on the releases. I bet it will hit the market and it is a success already with your app. And I think I had one person came in the other day, so I think two months back, and he was also marketing his app. So I'm like, okay, we have these coming up, and so I think it's so important because sometimes people don't have the time to go to classes or attend online classes on meditation. And if you are already attached to your phone close to I don't know, 16 hours in a day, or maybe that's too much, 7 hours at least, might as well incorporate your meditation time there with that help first with the app before you start, you know, journeying it with yourself.
I have one therapist who said that KiFlow is like a deep personal coaching session, anytime, anywhere. So it's like his clients, his patients, when they can't make an appointment around an appointment, they could just in the middle of the night or, take a break, and they can just pick up KiFlow within 10 or 20 minutes, have insight into what's really going on with them. So it's like a companion for you, a buddy that gets to know you and can really help you, support you anytime you feel stressed.
Of that. Okay, Ellen, we are going to pivot to my self-worth question. And the question for you is, there is no right or wrong answer to this. But the question for you is, how do you personally define self-worth? I know we talked about this a little bit, but let's see if you could break it down for us. And well, what practices have you found effective in maintaining a healthy sense of it?
Well, basically, it's self acceptance. Because if you can accept, I call it radical self acceptance. If you can just accept all the parts of you, you'll find plenty of worth. But it's in dividing yourself, fighting yourself, thinking one part of you is valuable and one part of you is not valuable,
Oh my God, I love
that
that.
you create a shadow and you make wrong whole parts of yourself that have value. All your emotions are valuable. Most people you know, only certain emotions are allowed and other emotions aren't allowed. Like, happiness is okay, but you can't be too happy. Love is okay, but you got to make sure you have your love just with certain people. You can't spread love. So you have all these limitations. Grief is, you don't want to do too much grief. You don't want to do too much anger. But all these parts have messages or important parts of being human. And we have all sorts of opportunity to just explore and learn while we're here because, you didn't come here with anything. You're not going to leave with anything. So the whole journey is just to learn as much as possible and enjoy being who you really are, which inherently is worthy.
What is your heart's greatest wish?
Heart's greatest wish, I guess it's just to have a purpose, a meaning, to love, to enjoy life.
If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening in the world as your legacy, what would it be, Ellen?
Do what you love what you do.
I love that. Okay, so how can people reach out to you and your fantastic products?
KiFlow.app is the website.
Okay.
www.kiflow.app or stressshifter.com. Both of those websites, stressshifter.com or keyflow.app. And KiFlow is on each app store, so please just check it out. No cost, it's free. Just go into it and see. It might be able to contribute and provide some value for you.
We will be sure to include that in the show notes. Okay, Ellen, any last message before we wrap the interview up?
It's important just to start each day with some kind of self-care practice. Just check in with yourself, a quiet space, just to get a clear intention of what you want to do in that day and what you want to experience, and just have a quiet time. And that's what meditation can do, is just a daily practice. Get into a habit of just checking in with yourself. Even if you just sit there and just think, just sitting down and just being with yourself is a valuable experience. Even if you don't have a deep experience, just the act of self-care will create a whole new opportunity for you to experience life in a deeper way.
Thank you, Alan. And that is a wrap on today's inspiring episode with Alan Imberato. Thank you, Alan, for the work that you do and for continuing to uplift the world around you. And for our listeners, this has been Your Wordless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, if you've ever felt wordless, remember you are not alone. Your soul chose to be here. And for that reason alone, you are worthy. A huge thank you to you again, Alan, and to all of you for listening. Until next time, I am Nick Nieras. Keep shining, keep growing, and always remember you are worthy and you are enough. See you in the next episode. Thank you, Alan, for your time again.
Well, thank you for creating this podcast. You're doing a great service.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love this episode? Now, transformation doesn't end here. Head on to @holistic.lifestyle_with Nick. That is on my Instagram. Or head on to my website, www.denignerasw.holisticlifestyle.com for more info on my coaching framework, which is the Worthy, Authentic, and Abundant Framework, digital guides, and my upcoming events such as retreats and master classes and workshops. Now, I also do intuitive readings where we get to check on your soul path. And if you're also wanting to check on your energetic alignment, I have done that too. And I offer that kind of services. So, my question to you is, are you ready? Because I am. Let's create your next.
Good morning to you, Alan. How are you doing today?
Well, it just started. I'm excited to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for saying yes to be interviewed today and for agreeing to be on my show. I'd like to introduce myself to you formally and to all of our listeners tuning in for the first time and or returning subscribers. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled Your Wordless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, today we're going to talk about mindfulness and how you transform that into an app, and why it is so important for us to practice this. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to all of our listeners, and then we can get right into our conversation. All right, everyone, we have Alan Imberato here with us. Alan has been deeply immersed in the world of mindfulness and transformation for over 5 decades. His journey began in his 20s when he lived in an ashram for a decade where he practiced and taught mindfulness-based meditation across North America. Now, that experience helped him to create a personal transformation seminar called Winning at Work and Life, which he delivered across the US. After that, in 2011, he created an app called Stress Shifter. The evolution now has become KiFlow. Wow, what a journey, Alan. Welcome to the show.